What's up guys, welcome back to another episode of my Dark Deku Cosplay series, quite possibly the last episode because it's about my jumpsuit. It's also New Year's Eve right now, so you might hear some fireworks in the background. So I want to say Happy New Year's Eve to everyone, and Happy New Year's to everyone that's watching this a few hours later. 2022 has been home of a few achievements of mine that I'm really proud of, so I want to say thank you all for being with me through all that. Now, with all that said, I do have some explaining to do. The footage I'm using to record this episode of me making the jumpsuit was recorded the day before I actually left to go to see in Japan in San Antonio. So if it looks like I'm kind of rushing through everything, I really am, because I only had that few hours to make this whole thing out of scratch. But I did use a really helpful YouTube video to help me when starting out making my pattern. I did have to customize it a little bit since the jumpsuit has like designs in it. But I will leave a link to that video because I do fail to explain how I'd made my pattern. I actually failed to explain a lot of things in this video, so at the end of the video, if you have a question about something that happens, I might explain it later on. So make sure you watch that piece of me explaining like the specs of everything on the jumpsuit. So the video might seem more of like a time lapse rather than a how I built my stuff. So just make sure you wait until that point in the video where I do explain a little further on. Make sure to follow my Instagram. It's gonna be linked in the description. I just post like updates and extra content there. And also subscribe to my channel. Almost at 1,000 subscribers. Last time I checked, I was 983, and I really hope to hit 1,000 before the end of the year. That's in a few hours, so I might not make it, but if you could help me out, I would really appreciate it. So that's it for now. I'm going to send you out to the rest of the video, and I'll see you guys later. So here's how I'm gonna make the collar. I just had the pieces of the faux leather and I folded it in half, and then I marked where like the collared line would be. I measured around my neck and I measured 20 centimeters. So from this point here straight to this point here is 20 centimeters. And then I'm added a little curve here at the end, 3 inches off of the there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some of the spray adhesive, spray it on one side, and then once that's getting tacky, I'm gonna fold it over like that all the way around. I'm gonna try to get that curve here as much as possible, and then that is going to be sewn onto the rest of the jumpsuit. Alright, so now I'm at the part of the video where I try to explain everything I did with the costume. For some reason, I don't think I explained this piece. I added these snap points on the front here and also on the back, so that way I could attach this shoulder pad. This was made with 6mm white foam, and you can see that I used a Dremel to do these little grooves here, and also all the scratches here. And then I used the same snap that I used on the belt pouches, and then just browns and blacks to weather this thing. So these get snapped onto the shirt right here and here. And I had to add some of the fray glue, the same one that I used to hold up the frayed fabric on my Dark Deku mask. So that way the fabric that it's attached to right here, it's hardened and it won't stretch, and that way the snap-ons don't just rip out of place, which is something I had to learn the hard way. So I just had to add the anti-fray glue and then punch my hole and then attach these. Also, the shoulder pads were a great comfort when I had the backpack on as well, which the backpack is going to be in the description as well, the same one that I used. I didn't do anything to it. I just spritz a little bit of black on the straps just to have a little bit of weathering on it. Here is the collar. I just edited that part of the video, so I don't think that I explained that too well. Basically, how I did the collar was pretend that this little card here is the same fabric I used on this. Basically, all I did was just fold the fabric in half, and then I drew the top part of the collar, so it would look something like this. And then I sewed with the sewing machine a straight line on the mark that I made here. And then with that sewn on, I flipped it inside out and then sewed the bottom part here onto the rest of the jumpsuit here. Another thing I added, which I'm really happy turned out as well as it did, besides the collar, is the zipper here. This zipper is 25 inches long, might be 26 because it's wavy. I realized as soon as I finished it, I didn't need it to be that long. I actually didn't need the entire shirt to be this long because I originally wanted this part to sit on the outside, but it was just too long. So I just tucked this into the pants, and that came up to all the way about right here. So this amount I didn't even need. In hindsight, I would have loved to added elastic strap right there, but as of now I'm not worried about that because it is tucked in. You're not going to see it. Also, something that I also explained in the video is I don't know if you could tell, but if you look at the bullet texture, this is the same fabric that I used on my mask. I have the pattern going in different directions. So I have the pattern on this half, you can see it going this way, and on this half it's going the opposite way. I did that with the mask, so I feel like I had to do it with the jumpsuit as well. And then also while doing this little pattern here, I had to make sure that that texture matched the rest of the surrounding area right here, and as well as the other side and also the back. However, with the back, I just used one piece. Since I'm going to have a backpack and a cape anyway, you're not going to see the back of the jumpsuit. So I didn't have to like cut this in half and then sew two pieces together along the back because no one's going to see it and no one's going to care. I also added this design on the back as well, even though you're not going to see it, because I don't know about anyone else, but I remember a long time ago in 2014, I was looking at like Slenderman morph suits because that's what was popular back in the day. And I was really disappointed that the tuxedo on the morph suit didn't wrap around onto the back, and that kind of just annoyed me more than anything. So from that day on, I want like my backs to have detail on it as well. Now I'm gonna talk about some mistakes that I did. And the number one mistake here was I started on the front. As you can see, like right here, just some pieces in the corner right here as well. Those weren't sewn on as beautifully as I would have liked. And I was really scared that the judges would just see that little piece right there and would be like, oh, this guy's not worth it, send him out. So that was on the back of my mind the entire time. But what I'm trying to say here is I started on the front parts here first, and I made those mistakes and I learned from it. And then on the back, where again I said no one's gonna care, no one's gonna see, I basically did this piece perfectly over here, maybe a little mess up here, and then this one perfectly as well, except for this part here, which I was admittedly too lazy to fix. So moral of the story, start on the, if you're gonna do a complex design, start on the back first where no one's gonna see, and then you could learn from those mistakes and then do it perfectly on this side. Another thing I would have changed is over here on the shoulder, I have a stripe here which I think turned out very nicely. However, I think it would have looked better if it was just one solid piece right here and there wasn't a seam right here so that it could flow nicely into the sleeve. The sleeve was its own thing as well. I had to do the same thing with this. You can see the pattern here. I basically had to do that 4 times on each sleeve. Everything that's black on the sleeve is the all one piece surrounding to the other side of the sleeve. I had that vision in my head. I really wanted, oh, except for the bottom part where it all connected together. I believe that's everything that I have on this shirt. If you want to see how the inside looks, here it is. Here's the sleeve. You can see I'm marking everything as I'm drawing it out. Oh yeah, also at the beginning when I was that pattern is gonna be half of the back plate. Here's what I drew out, and then I just flipped the pattern over and then traced the other side, and that was all one big piece. I think that's it. I think that's it for the shirt. The pants were a lot easier to do. I used the same technique to make the pattern on the shirt as I did with the pants. I just used some jeans that I think fit me pretty well and then traced half of that onto here. And this is how everything came out. In the waist here, I have a 2-inch elastic strap going all the way around. The Elmer spray-on adhesive was a very big help. I just had the elastic strap, sprayed it, applied it to the fabric, sprayed it again, and then folded the fabric over, similar how I did to the cape, so it will go over this. I didn't have to add a seam to the top here, and then sewed it onto the rest of this piece here. I did have to like go, you can see here, but there wasn't enough tension holding my pants up, so I just sewed a little bit extra there. There was a firework in the background on this side as well, just to make it a little bit tighter so that they don't fall down with the weight of the leg armor. And also this part is going to be covered by the belt and also the belt pouches. I have this rectangle of the 4-way stretchy faux leather that I added to the sides. I made all of the shorts first, and then I added the black legs. Speaking of the black legs, you can see at the cuffs here, they have some more elastic strap in there, so that way, I don't know. So just, because I think these are comfortable, I guess. They won't be picked up as much if I'm like fixing the leg armor. Now the reason I did the legs black and didn't just continue on with the teal over here, it's because this is part of the leg armor. I have the foam pieces that are wrapped in canvas, and then I have them on, and then in between each piece of armor you could see a little bit of the pants. So I said might as well make it black, and it made it a lot easier. So then I put on the pants, and then I marked where I wanted the Velcro pieces, and then I attached them onto here. I have the soft parts of the Velcro sewn onto the pants. Meanwhile, the other side of the Velcro, I just used contact cement to attach them to the inside of all the leg armor. And that's pretty much how it went. And I'm really glad that it survived both those cons, because it was starting to rip right here on the inseam. So I'm gonna have to sew that back on, make sure that it's extra tough. And that's pretty much it for the jumpsuit. I hope that I explained everything to the best of my ability. And then after all that was done, I used sandpaper to pick up the fabric there, and then airbrushed all the weathering on here. So that's pretty much it on describe. I'm actually pretty tired from explaining all this. That's pretty much it on explaining the jumpsuit. Leave a comment if you have any questions about any of the stuff that I used here, and I'll send you off to Past Me, where I already recorded the outro because I knew that I would be exhausted from explaining all this in the past. And yeah, that's okay. I'm getting delusional now. I'm gonna send you off to the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section, because it is my fault that I didn't explain this thoroughly as I was making it. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'm gonna do my best to explain everything in the comment section. And if it's a little more complex, I might make a little YouTube short just for that comment. But I think I explained everything just before this part of the video. And also links to items that I use are gonna be in the description as well. But that's it for now. I hope you guys have a happy new year, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of whatever I do. Goodbye.